Whether we are single or part of a family, we spend our lives trying to build up our assets or capital by studying to gain an education, working to buy a house or a car, and saving for our retirement. Southland's economy is also built on its assets or capital, whether they're in agriculture or hydroelectricity or tourism. Our economy includes natural resources, people's skills and knowledge, as well as buildings and technology, and all of these things are connected in some way or another. As we develop an action plan to achieve what we want for our water, it is likely to mean changes in other parts of the economy, particularly as everyone moves towards a new way of doing things. But like most things, the economy is complex, and understanding our choices about the future isn't going to be easy. To make sure that we're in a good position to think about these changes, an initiative was set up in 2014 to better understand how Southland's economy works and its future outlook. This initiative is called the Southland Economic Project, and it has been a huge joint effort by everyone involved over a number of years. We got out and about to see how the region works on the ground. We also use innovative design to show how the region operates as a system. This was all put together to make a scale model of Southland's economy. This model only includes goods and services where there are markets to buy and sell them, and we measure their value to us with prices. There are other things in the economy that don't have markets and prices, like voluntary work and what we rely on from nature, such as pollination and fresh water. These are non-market goods and services, and different techniques are needed to consider how an action plan may impact on them. So how does the Southland economic model work? In the model, New Zealand is divided into two, Southland and the rest of New Zealand. It also keeps an eye on what's happening in the rest of the world, in terms of things like commodity prices and foreign exchange rates. The model divides the economy in Southland and the rest of New Zealand into 5 main parts. These are households, local government, central government, industries, and savings and investment. We can break the industries down further into all of the market economy's production activities. These are grouped into 19 different industry classes, and there is even more details for agriculture and forestry, with 57 farm types across dry stock, dairy, horticulture, and arable. Any model is only as good as its data, and we made a big investment in getting real data on agriculture and town wastewater that is specific to Southland. This data gives us good information on the benefits and costs of different management options for water. The model's engine determines what goes into the different parts of the economy and what comes out. It also traces who makes goods and services and who uses them. It is worth keeping in mind that the model only includes the things where there are markets. This means that it doesn't include the things we don't pay for using money. We use maths equations in the model to connect the different parts of the economy. These equations fit everything together and drive how changes flow through the economy. In some cases, these connections are reinforcing, and an increase in one thing will make something else also increase. In other cases, the connections are balancing, and when one thing increases, another will decrease. The key to making the model work is the price mechanism, where the prices of goods and services adjust depending on their supply and demand. The model will be used to help answer questions around the development of the action plan for water. It is designed to have some settings or dials that can be used to test. What if this happens? Or what if that happens? When we change the model settings, we are making what-if scenarios for the economy. A scenario is just imagining a possible situation or chain of events. The model is high-tech in that it looks at changes over time. For each scenario, the model traces a possible pathway over the next 30 years, which shows how a future scenario flows through the economy and what the journey might be like. To make sure it is reliable as possible, the model was calibrated against what has happened over the last 10 years, using Statistics New Zealand national accounts and other robust data sources. The Southland economic model will be used to test how an action flows through the market economy over time. It produces a picture of how things might look with the action plan and compares it to how they might otherwise look under the status quo, which is called the baseline. And the model measures the gap between the two. This gap estimates some of the economic impacts of a possible action. As always, there is huge uncertainty about the future. To capture some of this uncertainty, we can change the model settings to test how the results vary with things like different commodity prices and foreign exchange rates. This helps us show that each what-if scenario can have a range of results, and our view of different pathways into the future will be quite wide. The model produces results using several different measures that give more than one view of the economy. The results will be useful when thinking about the action plan. And so what did the independent peer review make of it all? The process, with all of the people in the room, has worked about as well as is possible. The results won't be perfect because they never are, but you're steps ahead of where anyone else has got to by having a model which is much more realistic. You can't get around making assumptions in models, but in this case, at least they have been well argued and seem to be reasonably well grounded. For more information, please visit the Southland Economic Project web page or contact Environment Southland.